What's up, friends? Brian Fanzo, and we're gonna get a little bit into the vernacular and the vocab around this NFT space. But I want to qualify something that I think is really important before I kind of jump into this, and that is, I think in many cases right now, people are using complex series of words and things to make things in some cases sound more complicated than they really are. And in other cases, they're using them in like broad generalities because they don't really understand the terms themselves. And I'm a big believer. I hate, especially in our early adoption phase, I hate when we let our disagreements about how we use different terms dictate or determine what we're talking about, right? I would rather people not understand what WAGMI means or LFG or why everybody posts GM than people kind of feeling like they're on the outside in, they're not in the cool kids club and preventing them from getting in. So on this episode, like I started off like, I'm going to pull together like 10 or 15 terms or phrases in this space that are important. And that list just kept growing. And so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go through a bunch of the terminology that are thrown around with NFTs, but I'm going to go through it fairly quickly. But I will tell you, I try to, in every podcast episode, qualify the different terms because I think it's important to know that, right? So, I'm going to jump right into it. We're going to kind of just kick through each one of these words. Hopefully you guys can just follow along. I am having, of course, a video version of this. If you want to watch the video version of this, I will make sure to include that in the podcast notes as well. So the first term is GM, which is just short for good morning. And it's what most people are posting in Discord, on Twitter. It's kind of like how you know people are in NFTs is rather than saying good morning or not posting something right away in the morning, we are posting GM, which really just means good morning. Now, you'll also see people use GN, which is good night. But those ones are pretty simple. We're going to start off with some of those simple ones. The next one is one I love to use, and it's LFG. Which, let's just say the edited version is let's freaking go or let's effing go. And we use that in all types of ways in the sense of like, it's kind of like a rally cry, like let's effing go. And that's an important one. Like, I feel like it's just one of those things that's kind of like a morale booster one that, people are using pretty regularly. Now this one, friend, F-R-E-N, it's really just short for friends. We did see some of the brands like Pepsi come out and use that kind of like incorrectly in their vernacular, but it's just short for, you'll say GM friend, and it's just good morning friends is really what that one comes up to. All right. The next phrase that we hear a lot is probably nothing. So like if I posted one today and I saw that Ticketmaster actually sent me an email survey and said, NFTs are all the craze right now. We would love for you to take this survey so we can learn more about how you're using NFTs. And I took that screenshot and I posted it on Twitter and I said, probably nothing. Which if you say that, really it means probably everything, right? It's like, it's kind of like the switch of saying like, wow, this is a big deal, but really we're just saying probably nothing. And it's a little bit of a slant because so many people are naysayers or they're non-believers when something good is happening or brands are jumping in or celebrities are jumping in a part of it. We use that kind of probably nothing as kind of a mocking of those that are the haters out there. Now, we can't really talk, acronyms or vernacular or vocab without NFTs, which of course stands for non-fungible token. And I will say like the word fungible, I just kind of like, but the idea of a non-fungible token means that it is the actual thing that you're purchasing cannot be replicated or duplicated, or you can't kind of use a series of it. And I think the greatest example of that is if, I give you $10 and say, give me back the $10 in a week. You can take the $10, spend it. You can come back and give me a $5 bill, 5 ones. You can give me any version. You can even just give me a different $10 bill. But if I give you my, crypto dad number 7361, and I say give me that NFT back to me next week, you're giving me back that exact one of those. And so that's the non-fungible way of that versus like creator coins, which you guys know powers this show. And that's more like ADHD coin. Those are more fungible assets, right? I can give you 50 ADHD coin and you can give me back 50 ADHD coin, but it doesn't have to be the exact same coin. So that's kind of that overview, that overtop piece of NFTs. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the overview type of NFTs. And one of probably the most popular that we hear a lot about is generative art. And I remember the first time I heard this, I'm like, I didn't really understand what that meant. And really what it means is that we're allowing the code to determine what the finalized art is by simply uploading all of these different layers, all of these different properties into our contract, into the actual process. And then it generatively makes the actual art pieces themselves. So that's how you're seeing like the Bored Apes, right? Where one will have its eyes closed and will be smoking a blunt and wearing a suit. That is all generative art that is actually made based on kind of putting in a series of layers and then allowing it to kind of overlay or create that actual art or NFT. Now, another one is, we call it, a PFP NFT, which is, it stands for profile photo, which means is that, NFT that you're buying, is the art something that would be willing to be used as your profile photo on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever it may be. And so usually that's kind of thrown around more for like, what is like your signature piece? And we've even heard phrases like, what's your, your lifetime PFP, which means like, what is the one NFT art that like just really embodies and represents you. I will tell you, for me, I feel like I change my PFP on Twitter almost daily because I'm always switching between the different projects that I like. All right. The next one we're going to get into is, the idea of like, we hear a lot like metaverse, and then we hear Decentraland, we hear wearables. Well, the metaverse as a whole, right? Like the metaverse is the idea of like the virtual and digitalized world. And the concept is it's actually a world where, or a time, right? More of a time and place where we will care more about the digital world, the digital reputation, our digital landscape than we do our physical landscape. And Decentraland, it just happens to be one of the different types of metaverses that exist right now. And there's an argument on, is a metaverse a decentralized entity or not? Is it part of Web3? But that's all like that. Those are things that people like to argue about. And then wearables, when we hear about like a wearable NFT, what they're saying is you're getting an NFT that you can actually wear in the metaverse. So for example, like I was gifted, bunny ears because I hold the Playboy Rabbitar NFT. Well, those bunny ears are wearables, but they show up as an NFT. And when I'm in Decentraland, which is of course a metaverse, I can actually pull that from my wallet and add that to my character. So when you're getting a wearable NFT, it's something you can actually add onto your avatar, which is like your digital person or representation in the metaverse itself. Now, I mentioned wallet. Wallet is one we hear a ton. I think of wallet as it's going to be as common, or it's going to really be the email address and like the email like bucket of the Web3 world, right? So your wallet is how you transact, how you buy and sell NFTs, but it's also the place that your NFTs are stored. Now, your wallet can also store cryptocurrency on it, but your wallet, the wallet is really the place that you're connecting. And so people oftentimes get confused on like the marketplaces versus the wallet, and I'll explain that difference here in a second. So the types of wallets that are most oftenly thrown around are MetaMask, Rainbow, Trust Wallet. There is a Coinbase wallet, which is different than Coinbase.com. It's actually a separate app, a separate entity. That really got me confused early on. And then Wallet Connect allows you to really connect to any type of wallet, other types of wallet that are out there, right? There's Gemini wallets. There's lots of different crypto type wallets, but these are kind of like the most popular: MetaMask, Rainbow, Trust, Coinbase, and then of course you can connect with it with Wallet Connect. All right, now you're like, okay, Brian, I think I understand wallets, but sometimes people say it's a hot wallet versus a cold wallet, or you might have even heard the term a hardware wallet or a hard wallet. And so what I will tell you is that the hot wallet just simply means that it is something that is connected and it's living, which means it's either in your browser tab or it's on your mobile device. And so that is a hot wallet. And a hot wallet is less secure than a cold wallet, because a cold wallet has a physical piece that is disconnected from the internet. And so really when you're thinking about that, I was trying to look for, oh, here's my hardware wallet right here. So like this is a hardware wallet that I'm holding up on the video, but for those on the audio, it's simply a USB drive. But when I plug it into my computer and I hold down these buttons, a series of numbers are going to come up here that I'm actually going to have to put in to verify transactions and to make any actions. And what is nice about that is if someone steals your password online, they actually have to steal your hardware wallet to get the things out of your hardware wallet or your cold wallet. And the reason it's referred to as hot and cold is like cold, like right now holding it in my hand, it's not plugged into anything, and it's what we call air gapped, right? There's no way that you could actually connect to it. So the hot wallet is what most of us are using. I would argue there's been a lot of discussion about cold wallets. I believe they're a little bit too difficult to manage. And like if your portfolio is 6 figures, I think using a hard wallet or a cold wallet makes sense. If it's less than that, I think you just have to be really good with kind of managing the nuances of your wallet. Well, now let's get into the nuances of your wallet. So you might hear people say, hey, send me your wallet address or your public address. What they're referring to there is that like the hash that is your public wallet address. Now, I will tell you, that is something that is public. It is okay to give out. It is much like your email address. Just like you would give out like, hey, my email is brian@isocialfans.com. Your wallet address is actually something that you can give out publicly, because you don't have to, but it's something you can exchange. But if someone wants to send you something, they need to have your public address. Now, this is different than your seed phrase. And you might have heard me talk about this many times. Your seed phrase is a series of words. It's 12 or 24 words. And that is actually like the master key to your wallet. So think of it like a master key to a car, right? Like if I give someone my public address, they can just see my car. Right? If someone happens to take my password, really they took a copy of my keys, but I can hopefully get back in. But if someone takes your seed phrase, that's the master key to your car. So it doesn't matter that the car is in your driveway. If someone has your seed phrase, they can take the car out of your driveway no matter what. And so your seed phrase is only used when you are setting up a new device, or if you're actually really, that's the only time it's being used, is when you're setting up a new device. So like, let's say you get a new laptop or you get a new iPhone and you want to set up a wallet on there. Because there's no centralized hub for that information, you have to take that seed phrase and you have to enter it in the new device. So this is the thing. Your public address is something you can right click on in MetaMask and share with people publicly. Your seed phrase is buried down in the settings, and at no time, zero time, are you going to have to give that to anyone to validate or to sign anything in the NFT space. Now, there is also a password on your wallet itself. That's different than your seed phrase, and it's different than your public address. The password is more like the password to unlock the wallet so you see what's in it. The public address is like I said, it's like the email address for people to send things to you. Now we're going to add a little complexity to the wallet, then I promise we'll move on. You might have heard things like ENS domain, or like my wallet address is fanzo.eth. What an ENS domain is much like a website domain. Your ENS domain is actually an NFT that you purchase. And what you're able to do with that NFT is you're able to set up a primary redirect of your public wallet address, right? So I told you that I can share my public wallet address with anyone, but if I want to have like a short URL for it, I can have fanzo.eth. So someone sending me something to my public address or to fanzo.eth is the same exact thing. Now you can buy multiple ENSs, multiple NFTs that command that have different domains attached to them, or ENS domains, but you can only have one registered per wallet. So like in my wallet right now, I have things like nft365.eth and adhdcoin.eth. But if they're not only one of them can be actually mapped to the actual wallet. And where you buy those is at ens.domains, and you can actually buy the NFT using crypto there. So definitely that's kind of like the shortener, or the short URL in this space. All right, the next one we're going to go to is DEX, D-E-X, which is a decentralized exchange. Now, I usually just recall them an exchange, and that would be something like Coinbase or crypto.com. It's actually where you exchange your crypto from either, from one type of crypto to another, right? And cryptocurrencies, of course, this is always funny. People often say like, well, isn't cryptocurrency the same as Bitcoin? Well, no, they're not. Bitcoin is a type of crypto. It happens to be like kind of the godfather of crypto and really what everything else is based on, but it is a type of crypto. Crypto includes, Dogecoin, Solana, Shiba Inu, all of those different, Hex, Avalanche, all of those are cryptocurrencies. But the reason that it's important to understand an exchange is when people ask me like, Brian, what's the easiest way for me to buy an NFT? I tell them, go to Coinbase because that's your exchange. You're going to take your money from your bank, put it into the exchange, and then you're going to send that money, you're going to convert it into crypto, which would be Ether for most NFTs. And then you're going to send that to your wallet, which for me would be a MetaMask wallet. And then you're going to buy the NFT with your MetaMask wallet. So your exchange is really that place where you can send money back or crypto back and forth, but it's also the place you can buy, sell. It's also where you can take your crypto to the bank. Now, this one can, I don't want to dwell too much on this, but you might have heard ETH, right? Like we refer to ETH oftentimes when we're referring to the currency, right? The cryptocurrency that is, that we exchanged, most NFTs are purchased on. But funny enough, we usually say, well, that's Ethereum. Well, actually Ethereum is the blockchain. Ether is the actual crypto name, and we just refer to it as ETH. You don't really have to worry much about that, but if someone says like, it's going to cost 0.1 ETH, what they're saying is it's 0.1 Ether, and that is the thing that is exchanged on the Ethereum blockchain. All right, now a couple other cryptos that might be valuable. You guys have heard on the podcast, Solana or Sol, S-O-L, or when I refer to Matic or Cardano. Cardano's tag is Matic, and those are two different cryptocurrencies that you can buy NFTs with. They're a different marketplace and a different market, but they're ones that I also mention here on the podcast. All right, you might have also heard me talk about the mainnet or the side chain. The mainnet is where the main blockchain exists. So that's where we have all of the main types of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of those are on the mainnet. And then off of the different main nets, you can have what you refer to as a side chain, which means you're building something on that blockchain, but it's not on the physical main net. And so Rally.io, which is the one that hosts our coin here for this podcast, ADHDcoin.com, that is actually on the side chain of Ethereum, the blockchain. So mainnet is that main area. That's mostly where you're going to play. But like when you had to buy the Matrix NFT, you had to actually convert your crypto to the sidechain Palm because that's the actual the marketplace that Nifty's was using for their exchange. All right, hopefully you guys are sticking with me. We're over halfway there, so I promise we're getting there. We've also heard the terms OpenC or Rarible. What those are actually marketplaces for you to be able to buy or sell NFTs on the secondary market. So once they're actually minted, then you can buy them on these marketplaces. But here's the thing. It's more of like an eBay or it's really like an eBay or an Amazon, right? These are more of like, these are the marketplaces, but it doesn't actually mean that your data or your information is stored there. Your NFTs are actually stored in your wallet, but when you connect to OpenC, it's actually pulling that data and saying, what is in their wallet? Let's display it there on OpenC. And OpenC is that marketplace that we go to sell on the secondary market. All right, another popular term is gas wars or gas. Gas is what is the transaction fee that is required anytime you are making any changes to the blockchain. And really what it means is we're paying the miners, those that are mining the actual blockchain or the crypto from the blockchain to actually, we're paying them to transact and move things around. Now, when we hear the term gas wars, usually what that means is there's either multiple NFTs dropping at the same time, or they drop, everyone has one chance to get the NFT all like, hey, 8 p.m. everybody has, 10,000 people can get the actual NFT. Gas war refers to the way gas prices work is that the more activity on the blockchain, the higher the price is on gas. Like it went as crazy to the other night where I was buying $1,000 NFT and my gas fee was $1,200 on top of that. Now that is not normal. I clicked cancel on that. But I will tell you the gas fees often will range from like $40 to like $250. And if they're more than that, it's probably because there's a gas war going on right at that moment. And there are some tools and websites you can go to monitor the gas prices. I will tell you, if you purchase during off hours, so off US hours especially. So I like to say like 1 a.m. Eastern time is a great place, because a great time to do it, because it's kind of before the UK wakes up, but it's while the East Coast is asleep and the West Coast is going to sleep. So that's a great time to actually jump in there so gas doesn't cost you too much. All right, the next terms we're going to refer to is transfer, bridge, convert, and wrap. So like transferring is actually if you are sending an NFT to somebody where you're not asking for the exchange of money, right? So I can transfer you an NFT by simply saying, give me your wallet address and I will transfer this NFT to you. Now, in the case of transferring, for the most part, depending on where the NFT is, that is also going to require a gas fee because it's actually a transaction on the blockchain. Now, when we are bridging something, we are bridging either bridging crypto or bridging NFTs. What that means is we're taking something from one net to something else, right? So like, let's say you want to take your ADHD coin to your bank account. You're going to convert ADHD to Rally, because Rally is the coin that is exchanged on both the main net and the sidechain. And then you're going to actually bridge out the Rally from rally.io over to, let's say, Coinbase over to Coinbase Exchange. So you're bridging it from one sidechain over onto the main net. And then the term wrapped, we hear this a lot if you're bidding on an NFT, right? You can actually, there's two things you can do. You can buy an NFT or you can bid on it like auction style inside of a secondary market like OpenC. But when you're wrapping your ETH, what that means is that like you're taking your Ethereum or your Ether, and then you're turning it into WETH. And really what that allows you to do is it allows you to bid on something for auction, but it doesn't actually hold you, like if you don't have that wrapped ETH available and you're up to win the auction, it doesn't automatically take that out for you. So wrapping that ETH actually just kind of, what it does is it kind of takes it off of that your main ETH and kind of folds it inside so that you can auction on that. And so like, let's say for me yesterday, I wrapped 0.24 Ethereum or Ether into wrapped Ether, and then I bid on 3 projects, all of them at 0.24. Whichever one of those I bid on that accepts my bid first will take that wrapped ETH out of my wallet, and then the other ones that I bid on will just not convert. They'll actually fail because I don't have that wrapped ETH in there. So if you've seen it, and the nice part about that is inside of Coinbase, you can wrap or unwrap your ETH pretty easily inside of Coinbase. But do remember, because it's an action on the blockchain, it's going to cost you a little bit of gas fees. All right. Now we'll get into a little bit of the actual NFT process. And this one's a fun one because the word minting an NFT, and I actually would say that I might have been using it a little bit, not wrong, but I was using it in a confusing way at the beginning of this podcast, which I was telling people that we're minting an NFT 365 days a year. But really what we're doing is we're buying a mint NFT 365 days a year, because minting an NFT means in many cases can be me creating the NFT and putting it myself. Now, the reason those words are that like phrase is exchangeable, is the word minting or mint really refers to the very first origin, the very first stamp on the blockchain. So if you are minting an NFT, the very first wallet address attached to that NFT will always be yours. So for this project, we're buying a mint NFT. Therefore, every single one of these are brand new NFTs. I'm not buying them on the secondary market or buying them from someone else that already minted the NFT. I've also used the term liquidity a lot here on the podcast. And liquidity means your ability to be liquid, or in the sense of have funds available, right? So when I say that like one of the superpowers that you can have is liquidity, what I mean by that is in your wallet, if you have a couple ETH that are there and you're able to act on something, that's your liquidity to actually kind of move back and forth. If you have bought if all of your crypto is stuck in NFTs, you have no liquidity, and that's kind of where that comes from. The next one is floor price. Floor price refers to the lowest current secondary market sale price, or price something is for sale on the market. So let's say everyone is selling an NFT for 1 ETH, but one person puts that NFT up for 0.25 ETH. The floor price is actually 0.25 ETH. Even though the average price of the NFTs in that collection is higher, the floor price is referring to what is the lowest possible amount I can pay to get into this collection. And so I'm not a huge fan of that vanity, but it's without question the thing that we refer to the most here in the NFT space. All right, these next ones are ones that when you're researching a project, these are things that we hear people talk a lot about. The roadmap, right? And really what the roadmap is it's just your business plan. It's the project saying, hey, when we mint out, when everyone buys our NFTs, these are the things we're going to do. On March 1st, we'll do this. Or when we sell 5,000 of our NFTs, we will do this. And so that's referred to as a roadmap. That is something that was born kind of the end of last year. Projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club, even VFriends, when they were launched, they actually had no roadmap because it wasn't something that was kind of asked upon the projects, but that's really what it is. We also hear the term merch. That's just referring to merchandise. Like actually what I'm wearing right now is a Crypto Dad sweatshirt, which is merch from the Crypto Dad's NFT project. And then the other one we hear a lot is Discord. Now, Discord happens to be the social, let's just say social communication tool that most NFT projects prefer. Main reason is because it allows you to automate and really create an active chat community using channels and different categories, but it's a separate app that you will actually download. It can get overwhelming. It can be a little bit annoying with the notifications, but I've learned to kind of love it now because it's definitely without question the home for most NFT projects. All right, I mentioned this a little bit before, but I wanted to kind of tap into when you see an NFT project, someone might say, hey, that's a derivative project. So like I'm a big fan of Expansion Punks. Expansion Punks is actually a derivative project. It's a derivative of CryptoPunks, which was the original project, right? And that was a generative art piece that the derivative is actually that like, hey, I'm using something similar or I'm building on top of, or in the case of Expansion Punks, which of course is a project I love, it's the expansion of that collection. The other thing that you hear a lot is, oh, I'm hoping to get a one-of-one art piece. Really what that means is it's outside of the generative art, right? Where maybe there's 10 NFTs that have a backwards hat, and there's 10 NFTs or 100 NFTs that have a baseball shirt. One-of-ones mean that the combination and the art that is there is only on that one piece, right? So it is an individual piece that you're buying. And those are often like kind of referred to as like the most rare in the bigger collections. Now we also throw out the words like a collectible. A collectible in most cases is very much like a baseball card or a figurine. If you're using like VV, which is a one of the networks that you can buy Disney type NFTs on, those are mostly collectible NFTs. They don't have utility for the most part built into them. Now you might be asking, what is utility? Utility is really what are the benefits, what are the perks that you get for holding this NFT. So when someone says, oh, the reason I love NFTs is because of the utility, what they're really meaning is because I hold this, it gives me access to a private Discord. It lets me attend this upcoming party or event. That is the utility beyond kind of the actual NFT itself. Now, all of that can kind of fall into different places. And some of those places that we kind of like leverage or communicate, you might hear people talk about spaces, which was referred to as Twitter spaces. You might hear people refer to, hey, my NFT project is having a town hall. Really what a town hall means is that it's a state of the union, if for no better terms. It's where the founders kind of give people an update on the roadmap, on where things are going. It's really just a way for everyone to mass communicate. And there, you might also hear to the term AMA, which is Ask Me Anything, which is usually just like a Q&A session that is oftentimes hosted on something like Twitter Spaces or Discord. All right. I promise we're getting towards the end here. I know this is a lot of information. We're over 30 minutes of it. But I'm trying to kind of run through a majority of these terms so it's all in this one video, one episode. So the next ones I want to talk to is alpha, like you're getting alpha, right? So alpha is really you're getting inside information or you're getting non-public information about a project. So when someone says, here's some alpha, these are some things that we're doing, it's referred to in the computer and programming space, right? Like I'm giving you information before everyone else knows what that information is. Now, the next one here is Whitelist, and that comes from an old computer methodology where you have a whitelist or a blacklist. But in NFTs, we really only have a whitelist. And what a whitelist means is that these are the people that are approved because that they did whatever they did to actually have the ability to purchase the NFT. Now, just because you're on a whitelist doesn't mean you get it for free. You're going to pay the same amount as everyone else. Most of the time, they give you an earlier time to purchase it. And it also kind of gives you a guaranteed slot because some of these projects sell out immediately and they mint out in a matter of minutes and sometimes seconds. And then you hear the secondary market. Now, the secondary market are those platforms like OpenC or Rarible or Solana Art or SolC. And those are places where after someone buys that very first NFT, they mint their NFT and they get their generative art. The secondary market is where we can sell that like OpenC and those places that are there. This one here is always a fun one because when I refer to someone like, okay, you bought the NFT, you have to wait for the art reveal. They're like, wait, I thought I owned the NFT. What that means, the art reveal, is oftentimes when you buy the NFT, you have like the name and the number that is associated and it's put into your wallet. But in some cases, as soon as it's in your wallet, you'll be able to see the artwork immediately. In other cases, they actually wait to reveal the artwork until later down the road, sometimes a couple of days, even some projects over a week. Part of that is like they want to create a little bit of a FOMO in the market, right? So you can mint an NFT, but before you see the art, you can actually sell it on the secondary market, and people are just trying to jump in and buy the quote unquote lottery ticket that is available. The other thing that we hear a lot is if you don't see your art in the OpenC, make sure that you refresh your metadata. What that really means is there's like a little recycle button or refresh button inside of OpenC, and what that means is when you're looking at the NFT on OpenC, it hasn't refreshed. It hasn't made a call back to the actual update to the blockchain and say, hey, show the artwork. So when you hit refresh metadata, it goes back to the blockchain and says, hey, is there any artwork? Has anything changed? Is there any artwork that I can show now? And then oftentimes you just hit refresh in your browser and then your artwork is there if they've actually released your artwork at that time. All right, last couple ones here. We refer to like your NFT properties or like the rarities of your NFT. The properties are usually the different layers of your NFT. So now some of them will have 3 or 4 layers. Some of them will have like 27. Like my Matrix one had like 27 properties. And each one of the properties will have a percentage of how many other NFTs in the collection also have that same property, right? So like if you're looking at an NFT and I have a pink hat, it'll say the property is hat, the name of it is pink hat, and then it'll tell you, 20% have this trait, in that collection. So that means 20% of the 10,000 NFTs also have the same property. So if you get one and it says that only 1% or less than 1% have that actual property, that means that it's much more rare and in many cases worth more money. All right, now I've saved a couple of the most popular ones to last. Rug pull is one that's thrown around a lot. And really what a rug pull refers to is kind of like it's a money grab, and it's referred to as the idea of pulling the rug out from underneath the audience. So in some cases, what people will do is they will say they're going to launch an NFT. People will put their money, will mint their quote unquote NFT, but then the people on the back end will just drain that wallet and disable their accounts, delete their Discord and their website, and they can run away with that money because it's on the blockchain and there's no kind of checks and balances on that. Now, I will tell you, sometimes we throw it around too much, right? Like just because a project isn't delivering on their utility doesn't mean it's a rug pull. It just means sometimes that, people aren't, standing up for their word and they aren't able to deliver on what they promised. And in other cases, a project might not have been a rug pull at the beginning, but because they're getting bullied or they're pressured or they're too afraid to fail, sometimes people will just kind of delete and disappear as well. And so that is called a rug pull, and we've heard that a lot. You might also hear about people saying, hey, make sure you delist your NFT. What that means is that if you have your NFT listed for sale on the secondary market, that is actually you hitting cancel and taking it off of the market for sale. Sometimes people do that because they want to shrink the supply. So they'll reward you saying, hey, for everyone that keeps their NFT delisted for a month, we're going to reward you with whatever that may be. Part of that is because they only want a few amount to be for sale, because ultimately that will kind of help, kind of fluctuate with the supply and demand. But if someone's saying delist, what that is really referring to is not having it currently up for sale. I've also referred to sometimes where I go in and check Etherscan to see what is going on inside of a wallet or a contract. Etherscan is actually a website, a software that allows us to scan the information in the blockchain that is associated with a smart contract or what is attached to a wallet. And that is just the Ethereum version of that, right? So it allows us to kind of dig deeper into that smart contract. Now, what is a smart contract? A smart contract is really the code underneath of an NFT that is a series of if this, then that variables. I actually have an entire podcast episode. You guys can go back and listen to that where I break down what is a smart contract. The last couple here, rarities, like someone would say, I want to check the rarities of my NFT. What that means is there are websites that will actually rank the NFTs based on the most rare of those properties. So what you want to check is like, okay, if my NFT has two different properties that are both 1% or less, more than likely it's a pretty rare. I'm going to go check like Rarity Tools or Rarity Sniper to check like what that actual NFT ranks. The last one's here, burning. If you're burning an NFT, which means you're sending it back to the contract address, which just means you're terminating the actual NFT itself. Staking an NFT, which I think is always one that we're hearing a little bit more, is actually the process of locking up the tokens of your NFT outside of your wallet. So like I currently am staking some of my giraffes from my giraffe tower, which is a project from Gary Henderson, which I'm going to bring on to the podcast. What that means is they don't actually show up in my OpenC. And what he does is he's actually incentivizing me by giving me additional tokens for each one of my NFTs that I have staked. And what it does is it allows people to lock them up, which you can kind of reward, and it kind of takes away my ability to just sell my NFT or flip my NFT overnight. Tokenomics is another one. And really this is just kind of like it's a element of economics that deals with kind of the trading and regulations of crypto tokens. And so you might have heard like of projects that are passive income generating. Those are the kind of the tokenomics of the different projects. Those are different. Tokenomics are different than just talking about like the ADHD coin, which is a creator coin on the side chain. All right, then there's the terms like noob or shark. Now a noob, maybe many of you can figure that one out. That is just a newbie. Maybe that's someone that is, you're new to NFTs, you're brand new. You can refer to yourself as a noob. a shark is referred to someone that has a lot of money, or we can even say they have a big bag. And when you refer to something as a bag, that just means what they have in their total wallet, right? Like, so like my bag contains, 250 NFTs. And so that's kind of like how you refer to that. A shark is usually someone that's coming in and has a lot less care about like $100 or $200, and they're trying to 10x or 100x something. But the sharks are those that are big time players. They often hold lots of the same NFTs in their collection. And then a fun one that I think is used a lot, which I think can confuse people, is, are you a diamond hands or are you a paper hands? And what that really means is when things go up and down, what is the likelihood of you getting nervous and selling it versus you're holding on to it for the long term? If you are someone that is buying an NFT and you plan on holding on to it for the long term and you don't care that the price dips and the price goes up, you're diamond handing it, right? You're holding on to it, you're diamond handing it. But if you're paper hands, which means you're all excited on a project, but then as soon as the floor price goes down, you put it up for sale because you're nervous, that just means you have paper hands, right? You're letting it, it's going to fall right through your hands, as soon as possible. And then the last two here we have is NFA, which just stands for not financial advice, which this podcast, of course, is not financial advice. Then we have these terms like NGMI, which is referred to not going to make it, or I like the flip of it, which is WAGMI, which is we are all going to make it. So if you see someone use hashtag WAGMI, that's like, hey, we all are all going to make it, together as an NFT community. And then we have this term, which is DYOR, which is short for just saying, do your own research, which we're referring to as meaning don't trust anyone else on how you want to spend your money. Yes, I hope you listen to my advice. I mean, I can tell you guys, I know you listen to my advice because I've been talking about some projects recently and you guys are buying them. The floor price is going up drastically, which is really cool to see for everybody that's taking my advice. But I hope you're doing your own research. And for this project, we like to say DYODR, which is do your own damn research, because I am the press the damn button guy and I talk a lot about on that side. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. It was longer than I expected. 40 minutes of vocab and terms is a lot to kind of consume. But hopefully you guys can come back to either the video or the podcast episode if some of the terminology gets a little bit too much for you. I will also make sure up on our website, nft365podcast.com. I'll make sure a list of all of these terms and definitions, and even the link for this video is up there as well. So till tomorrow, my friends, which I tell you what, tomorrow is a great one. I'm interviewing a good friend who is the founder of the very first project that I've decided to partner with, which is Meta Athletes. Kevin is going to be on the show tomorrow. So really look forward to that. Till tomorrow, my friends, make it a good one. Cheers.